Okay, hi. So welcome to the solution video for the September 9th Big Lectures homework. So this is the homework problem, as you can see in here on this window. So it's the sum from k equals 1 to 4,012,008 of the reciprocal of k times the square root of k plus 1 plus k plus 1 times the square root of k. So before, I believe I left a hint that this number is actually kind of a hint regarding how you can do this problem. And well, not the number itself, but it's the number in relationship to other numbers. So in this video, you'll see how that comes into play. And well, it doesn't really come into play at first, but it does kind of give a direction it does kind of give a direction for where to go with this telescoping. So the topic for this lecture was telescoping. So as usual, we are going to have a telescoping method to solve this problem. So you can see that the denominator is k times the square root of k plus 1 plus k plus 1 times the square root of k. So you may notice that these pairs match up. And so a further extension, so you can extend this further by factoring out the square root of k times k plus 1. And so then what you have left is the square root of k plus the square root of k plus 1. And this looks like a good step for telescoping, solely because you have the sum of just some square roots now. And so this is just 1 over. So you're now finding the sum from k equals 1. So you're now trying to find the sum from k equals 1 to 4,012,008 of the reciprocal of the square root of k times k plus 1 times the square root of k plus the square root of k plus 1. So next, what you can do is do what you kind of would usually do when you see something like this, which is multiply by a conjugate. So in this case, it would be the square root of k plus 1 minus the square root of k. And obviously, like in most problems like this, you would obviously be multiplying both the numerator and denominator by the same thing, because otherwise you are affecting the value, and that would definitely affect the sum. So what this gives is that you're trying to find the sum from k equals 1 to 4,012,008 of the square root of k plus 1 minus the square root of k, and this conveniently all goes off to 1. These multiply off to 1, so they can be ignored. And so this is the square root of k times the square root of k plus 1. I broke it up like this just so you can further kind of see how the telescoping is going to play out. And at this point, I think it's kind of clear how the telescoping is going to work. So it's just the sum and from k equals 1 to 4,012,008 of the reciprocal of the square root of k minus the reciprocal of the square root of k plus 1. And so that just means that you can see that the whole sum in the end turns out to just be, so you can kind of see how to proceed from here and how they cancel, but if you don't, that's fine, because you can just write out the first few values and you can see. So it goes 1 over 1 minus 1 over root 2, 1 over root 2 minus 1 over root 3, 1 over root 3 minus 1 over root 4, and so on. And near the end, it goes 1 minus root 4,012,007 minus 1 over root 4,012,008 plus the 1 over the root of 4,012,008 minus 1 over root 4,012,009. And so the terms you can cancel are these. And after you cancel out the first few terms, I think the pattern's obvious enough that these are the terms that are left. So what you have left is just simply 1 minus 1 over the square root of 4,012,009. And if you remember the hint I gave earlier, it was about the relationship of 4,012,008 in relation to other numbers. And the way you could bring that relationship into play was by using the fact that, so it was by using the fact that 4,012,008 is 4,012,009 minus 1. So although this may seem simple, this actually means that it's 2003 squared minus 1. So that's where the hint came from. So if you had managed to realize what the hint was talking about, which was probably admittedly very hard, and then you probably could have realized that it would probably eventually devolve into something just involving some, you could probably have eventually realized it would devolve into something around the lines of this, maybe with some extra constants multiplied or factored in somewhere. But yeah, you could have guessed the general form of the telescoping from that. But had you not, which is probably very likely, you would have just had to solve it like this, step by step. And of course, the final answer is 1 minus 1 over 2003, which is 2002 over 2003. And so that is the answer to this question. So, yep. And so I guess thank you for listening, and thank you.